Today, we have a great segment. We're going to be meeting with Stella de la Peña, if I pronounce it correctly. She is a site director for Alzheimer's Association, and we're glad you could be on with us today with Truth for Seniors. One thing Truth for Seniors prides herself on being is a source of information for seniors, areas and issues that affect seniors, giving you complete, accurate information. And so to get that, we go to people like yourself, experts.
Thank you.
Stella's going to talk to us about Alzheimer's today and some exciting news about a Caregivers Conference that's going
right.
on. Okay, so let's begin first. Stella, if you could tell us, so what is Alzheimer's and what type of disease is it?
So Alzheimer's is a neurological disease. It's the most common form of dementia, and it causes problems with our memory, our thinking, our judgment. It's a fatal disease. We currently don't have a cure for this disease. It's a disease that's progressive, and it impacts many, many families.
Can I ask you a question? I work a lot with families with funding for providing for care. How would you differentiate Alzheimer's just from dementia? Is it very clearly defined, or?
You know, I'm glad that you're asking. There's a lot of confusion about dementia and Alzheimer's, and so Alzheimer's actually it is the most common form of dementia. Dementia is actually a symptom, and there's different types of dementia. So basically, dementia is memory loss, and one can be experiencing memory loss for many reasons. You know, there could be an imbalance in our, in our thyroid. There could be an infection. There could be other things that could be causing dementia. And so that's why it's so important to find out what is the cause of any kind of memory loss or dementia.
Excellent, thank you. And you mentioned there's no cure for Alzheimer's.
There is currently not a cure for the disease. It's a fatal disease.
Okay, how about dementia?
Yes.
We're getting a little off track.
Well, and so again, depending on what, if the dementia is a reversible dementia, so I'll give you an example. For example, somebody may have a thyroid imbalance, and if they seek treatment with their medical provider and it's determined that there is an imbalance, they're given medication, that gets stabilized, then they will no longer be experiencing some of the dementia.
Okay.
Yes, so that's why it's so important to find out.
So now this might be a question my wife wants me to ask, and as much as myself, but I understand they're getting better and better at diagnosing symptoms. I know the life insurance companies, the long-term care insurance companies definitely are. They're trying to forecast this farther in advance. And I think I heard a stat that said that people are actually can maybe have the condition or the disease 30, 40 years before they manifest.
Right, that's true. That's true. There's a lot of studies that are taking place, and so we could be accumulating amyloid plaques in our brains already and not know that, and so not presenting symptoms up until 20, 30 years later. Those signs of dementia. Right.
Now, we're going to talk about caregivers here in a moment.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, there's a stat I heard several years ago. It's probably about 9 years ago, actually. My daughter, who's an RN now, she at the time was working as a CNA at an Alzheimer's facility.
Okay.
And I heard this on the radio, and I shared it with her. They said family members who provide long-term care for loved ones with dementia are 6 times more likely to develop dementia themselves due to the stress of providing that care.
Well, certainly health issues and health concerns. As many caregivers know, it could be, a challenge sometimes. There's certainly changes that take place in a caregiver's life once they become completely responsible for another loved one, whether it's a family member or even professional caregivers. It's something that certainly requires a lot of time and effort to do that.
My daughter, who was a CNA at the time,
Yes.
when I told her that, she goes, "Oh my gosh, Dad, does that mean I'm going to get it?" And I go, "No, sweetheart, you get to go home at the end of the day, right? It's like the parent babysitter thing. Hey, I'm glad they're not my kids." But they don't live with it like a parent does. So a loved one and a family member who's providing it, very stressful.
Very stressful. Often caregivers, don't get the respite that they need, don't have that opportunity to get the time or to care for themselves the way that would be best for them. We find now that that you're sharing those statistics. Now we're looking at it's 9 times more likely to develop, some type of chronic condition themselves.
Wow.
And
Other than dementia.
Other than dementia,
Right.
another
Mhm.
chronic illness.
Right.
Often, there are more than 15 million caregivers providing care. Often, it's a sandwich generation. That's not only caring for their parents, but also children or grandchildren, and so that can be quite challenging. And so they need information, they need support, they need resources, they need respite, they need a lot of support. Often a caregiving team is ideal, but that's not always available.
Right.
And so
they're taking care of their parents and their children, and if they want to stay married, they better be doing something about that too.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's those are huge demands
Right.
for an individual. Sometimes we find that caregivers, maybe who are working, will now work part-time or completely stop working, or maybe retire earlier than planned, and the cost can also be pretty astronomical for them.
Let me take a segue off that. Steen and Company and Killian Insurance, we partner together. One of the things we work with is helping people fund. Like I on my cards it says long-term care funding, and I say that on purpose versus insurance, because how do you meet that need? There's many ways to do that, so that the family can be the care manager versus the caregiver.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you would
Yes.
promote that. I mean, saying,
Well, certainly, ideally,
Prolong the
having the type of infrastructure in place that lends support to a family system, because it's very different for every case is very individual, and so depending on what that family determines is the best support that they need. For some, it's staying at home. For others, it's placement. For others, it's a day program. So really depends on what is the unique need that's going to best meet the needs of that person, their loved one who has the disease, and then also the family.
right, very individual, isn't it?
Very.
Okay. Well, one thing is, again, I want to make sure with the couple minutes we have left, I want you to talk about this caregiver conference you got going on.
Yes.
So we know that's important to have caregivers, being trained, being supported, huge.
Absolutely. So every year, the Alzheimer's Association partners with Valley Caregiver Resource Center and UCSF Alzheimer Memory Center, and this will be our third year where we are offering a day-long caregiver conference. And that conference is for family caregivers, for partners. It's also for professional caregivers who are seeking to enhance their education and receive some CEUs. And so this year we're going to be covering some different topics. We're going to be making available just general information about the disease. We're going to provide the latest research about Alzheimer's. We're also going to have breakout sessions for those families who are maybe providing care in the earlier stages, in the middle stages. We're also going to be offering a first responders track, so that first responders can also come to our training and learn a little bit about what is necessary.
That's pretty important. If you were a first responder, you realize what you're dealing with.
Pretty important, yes. So we're going to have a caregiver, and we're going to address some of those challenges that caregivers often have with behavior and communication, and then we're going to have an abundance of resources. So we're going to have a lot of resources from our community who can provide direct support to families.
So we have it on our screen, but let's make sure this is correct. We got November the 4th.
November the 4th.
Okay, what time?
It's going to, it starts at 8 o'clock.
Okay, 8 o'clock.
Until 4 o'clock.
Okay, full day.
Full day. It's a full day.
All right.
Yes. And so we still have registration open for this conference. And so
this is the correct number?
This is the correct number to call.
224-9154.
9154, yes, to get registered for the conference, and we're excited. We're going to have a lot of resources on that day, and so we're excited about being able to support our community.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you on behalf of the community for doing it.
Thank you.
My family is not one that's been impacted by that yet, but just real quickly, what percentage of families are impacted by this disease?
Well, we have, when you think about it, just to give you an idea, just in the Central Valley alone, we have over 26,000 families, 26,000 individuals who have been diagnosed. And those are expected to increase to 47,000 by the year 2030. So that is growing. It is an epidemic that's growing. We're, as a nation, we're not prepared. So we need to be able to make some changes, provide the support that's needed, increase the support for research so that we can get closer to a cure or a disease-altering treatment.
Well, we pray for that cure. And until we do have that cure,
we're here.
Things like this are going to be really important. These Caregivers Conference happening November 4th, this year, of course, and from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
8 to 4.
And again, the number there, 559-224-9154. Call and register for that.
Correct.
Well, Stella, thank you so much for being here, really taking time out and
inviting
being here to
us.
share with us.
Thank you.
All right. On behalf of Steen and Company, again, we want to provide the latest and most informative information to help you, those who are seniors or those who are caring for seniors, so that we can be a healthier generation as well. So thank you again, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.